Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I have the story for you. This story, guys, this is going to be coming from an email sent from a subscriber. And this is about a guy who you guys are going to see real quick. Once again, the lesson of never, I repeat, never be the white knight with women. The white knight, the Captain Save a 304, or the garden tool, whatever you want to call her, and how badly it can make a guy's life an absolute nightmare if he goes along with this. And you're going to see here in this guy's story, absolutely what he goes through is just that, a nightmare. But he allows it to happen. And you're going to see here, guys, there's lots of lessons in this story. And obviously the biggest one about don't be a white knight. Other thing about paying attention to the red flags and acting on it. Another lesson about paying attention to what people do, people's actions, not their words. All sorts of things. Rushing into an exclusive relationship with a woman who hasn't earned it yet. All these different things. Because you're going to see here all these things this guy goes through. And he never ends it with her. Right? And the fact that it turns out that she's an alcoholic. And at one point he discovers that she's been selling all sorts of graphic pictures to like 20-some guys. He finds a video of her with another dude and still he stays with her because she's got problems. So I'm going to get into this, guys. It's a longer story. You can obviously see that by the length of the video. But it's a good one and it's interesting and entertaining and you will learn a lot from this. So if it can help one guy out there, it's worth me sitting here doing this today. So it starts off, hey there. I've been watching the channel for a while now, and even though some of the stories you share are a little too crazy to think about actually happening to someone, I too have a few stories to share as well. Well, you know what? A lot of the stories I go over, I mean, there are many that are definitely crazy, and maybe some are exaggerated or who knows what, but the point is, this guy's story here is crazy. So, these things happen. As the saying goes, truth is stranger than fiction. He says, I'll start with the most recent, and maybe one day I'll share the first, and probably the worst one I've ever had. Well, if there's a story that's worse than this, I don't know what the hell happened to this guy prior to this story. He says, I'm sorry if I fail at writing too much during this, as I'm on my mobile waiting to take my dad home from his doctor's appointment. I'm sorry for the length of this story, and I hope it reads well for your audience. Don't apologize. Share your story, bro. It will help people. Starts off, I recently shared a short relationship with a girl I thought I was in love with. Yeah, now looking back, you realize that you thought you were in love with her. We had met a decade ago when I was 22, and I think she was around 20 years old. She worked at a pet store in my local mall, and I told my brother how cute I thought she was. He failed to encourage me to ask her out and show me how easy it was. He asked her out in front of me and dated her for about 2 weeks. Well, that sounds like a rotten move on his part. You point out that you like this girl, and he just butts in front of you and talks her and asks her out. But maybe that was the universe's way of showing you, don't get involved with this girl. She's trouble. By the way, for you guys to do dating relationships, quick tip here. If you're interested in the girl, talk to her. Make a move. By hanging back, not going to get you anywhere, right? But in this particular case, the universe was sending him a sign. He says, it went on for about 2 weeks. It ended on a sour note because he wasn't interested in her at all, and she was trying to get out of a bad situation with her ex that she was still living with at the time. There's a sign right there. But your brother, he had the good sense to get away from her. Now watch what happens here. Skip forward about 7 or 8 years, and I hit her up on Facebook. Add her as a friend and start some small talk once in a while. I admit that it was me who liked her back in the day and that I should have said something then instead of being shy. She agreed and said she thought I was cute, but way too standoffish. We talk on and off for a couple of years, and we get along well and have a lot in common, and we exchange stories about our past relationships and stuff. She tells me how she's been struggling with alcohol abuse and wants to work towards beating her addiction. I tell her that I don't keep alcohol in my house, so it won't be hard to stay away from it. Another red flag. The alcohol problems. Now you can be sympathetic in terms of like if you this is strictly a friendship, if that's what you wanted to do, that's one thing. But even then you got to be careful. But people with problems like this, you don't need to invite that and bring it into your life, because believe me, this is something I know about very well with regards to alcohol abuse, because I have a family member, and you get involved with someone like that, even if it's a family or a friend or whatever, it's going to bring problems into your life. And guys, I want you to not have drama and problems in your life. So why invite it in? Okay, but this comes down to the old white knight syndrome that so many guys, they want to be the hero and they want to rescue her and save her. No, don't do that. Don't do that bullshit that you see on TV and movies, because you're going to see here what the crap that goes into his life because he wants to do this. He says, after a little while, we agree to be mutually exclusive with each other, and I think everything is great other than the occasional ghosting, supposedly because she's busy with work. So, hang on here. You're talking for 2 years. I don't know what distance you are from her, and eventually you become mutually exclusive, boyfriend, girlfriend, even though you actually haven't been getting together in person. Guys, big clue to this guy here is that no guy that has value would ever do that. He would make the girl work to get him, not just be exclusive with her without ever actually getting together, let alone not even hooking up. Seriously, man. I mean, there's got to be other options with women in your area. I'm assuming you're not living in the middle of a desert with a laptop and a Wi-Fi satellite connection that she's the only woman around that you can talk to via your computer. But, you guys, you're going to see what this leads to. She's not going to see him as high value, and she's going to treat him like he's not high value. He says, eventually, she's finally ready to move back to my state and tells him about how she can't wait to start a real relationship without the medium of the internet for communication. At first, she says she will be here the 15th of December. But on the 15th, says she's going to drop off most of her stuff and spend the night with a friend and come back the next day. Another red flag. You guys, after 2 years of talking, you think that she'd be dying to get back to see you if you were obviously that important to her. But, never mind. I got to drop some stuff off and stay with a friend that night. More red flags. At first, I didn't think much of it. She's been out of state for 2 years, wants to catch up with friends. I get it. No problem, or so I thought. See, your gut told you something. You trust your gut, guys. The first few weeks go well because we get along great. Similar interests, movies, games, getting intimate, etc. But it's also awkward because she spends more time out with her friends, having a good time, going to bars and camping trips, and the whole 9 yards. And he says in parentheses, keep in mind, she never invites me to come and meet her friends, and even when a friend picks her up, she tries to make sure I'm occupied with something and then suddenly disappears. Okay, what is her actions telling you? If she saw this guy as a prize, believe me, she would be spending less time with the friends and more times with him. Number 2, she would want to introduce this guy to her friends because she sees him as a prize, kind of bragging, if you will. Nope, she doesn't want her friends to see him, and she's spending a lot more time with them than him, even though they've been talking for 2 years and all that. Does she see him as high value? Pay attention to people's actions, guys. See, this guy knows something's up, but because he obviously likes her so much, he likes her, and he's into her way more than she's into him. He's letting this stuff slide. And believe me, she knows he's way more into her. And believe me, when women know that you are way more into them than they are to you, very quickly they'll lose interest, okay? Because it's boring. It's not a challenge. It's not exciting, okay? And she doesn't see this guy's high value. He says, at first I'm annoyed by this because she claimed to want to be with me, but was literally spending more than half her time away from home, hanging out with friends, and would barely even say goodbye before leaving, let alone a hug or a kiss. But she claims that she was just in a hurry for some excuse or another, and I let it slide. After about 8 weeks of this, I finally start to get on to her about spending more than half her time back, running around with other people instead of spending our time together. Well, I don't mean to sound like a jerk, man, but I got to be honest with you. What you're describing here, you're kind of sounding like a needy woman. I got to be honest with you, you're sounding needy. You know, your time you should be at doing stuff that you like, the stuff you enjoy, hanging out with your bros, trying to make some money, improve your life situation, purpose. Where is any of that? She should be the one trying to get you to spend time with her, not you trying to get her to spend time with you. Okay? You think that's attractive? You think that's going to turn on any woman? No. Okay? So you guys don't do that. Ever. But again, this is the point where you should have pretty much cut ties with her because of these different things and see that she's just not that into you. Why waste your time and energy and money, I might add, with someone that could just be like, and not really care about you? Her actions speak everything. But it gets worse. Way worse. She would vaguely tell me about her plans later that week and then suddenly drop it on me the day as if she'd been talking about it nonstop. When I protest, she gets upset and claims I'm being jealous and selfish by trying to keep her from her friends. One of which I found out later is another suitor that she claims is just a good friend. Well, she obviously is full of crap and a liar and devious and has many issues. But if there's one thing I will say is, again, she's not totally wrong. You are acting needy and all that. And even though you know something's up, and it's fine, you're not acting on it accordingly in terms of just saying, oh, this is working out. Hey, I wish you the best, but I'm moving on. Done. You stay with her. He continues, most weeks she would say that she's not staying the night and will be back late. Then around midnight, she would call or text saying that everyone is asleep and she has no ride until the morning. Then when the morning comes, they have to work and can't bring her back until the afternoon. And then yet another excuse by telling me that they went to dinner and drinks and can't drive back. This would usually start on Friday or Thursday night, and I wouldn't see her again until Monday afternoon. Why are you with this chick? End it. Move on. If you want a relationship, date other girls, ones that actually want to spend time with you and actually not going to BS you and jerk you around like this. But you're inviting this bad behavior, man. I'm telling you, by allowing this and acting needy and all that, okay? You can't do this, guys. She's a liar. She's full of shit. She doesn't give a shit. The first time she promised to come back and didn't, I was livid and reminded her about what she said and promised, and she would play it down, claiming that it was out of her control. At one point, I asked for the address so I could just pick her up myself, but she would refuse to let me come and get her. After a few more weeks of this, I confront her about claiming to want to be with me, but being gone from Thursday until Monday every week thus far. She again blames me for wanting to keep me from her friends and assures me nothing is going on behind my back that I should worry about. Yeah, sure. You know, but I mean, you're definitely getting some gaslighting here. You know, you making him out to be the bad guy. But again, in fairness, the guy is being needy and all that. You can see it right here. She's no saint either, and obviously she's lying and is full of shit. But also, this guy is acting this way. Simple solution: end it. During this time, I loaned her my old phone. That was dumb. That I used as a tablet for my nieces to play video games on, so that she can play Call of Duty mobile with me. One weekend she takes it to her friend's house and forgets to bring it back. This doesn't bode well with me, as it's a slightly outdated flagship phone and cost me over $700. And the next week I take it back from her. She isn't too happy about this, but hey, it's my phone and I don't want it lost or sold out from under me. Giving her your $700 phone, she just accidentally left it at their house. See, she doesn't give a shit. She's using you. A little while later, I noticed the phone getting notifications for her Facebook and Messenger. I don't think much of it at first, and just disable notifications so it isn't chiming all the time. I put on charge and kept it right out of her sight, because I now don't trust her with my property anymore. Again, why are you staying with this chick? Stop being the white knight. I'm sure there's other options where you live. A few days later, she asks about the phone because she wants to play some Call of Duty. So I go and grab it and notice her good friend sent her a kiss face emoji. So curiosity gets the better of me, and I check it and find a message saying that he's on the way, and ask her if she's talked to me yet. Or are they still pretending to be friends? Imagine that. Something's going on with the so-called good friend. Upon reading this, I flip out mentally. She hasn't mentioned going anywhere with him this day, and she's been lying to me about him. So what about her not straight virgin friend she used to live with and keeps talking to and about? I kid you not, guys. I gotta speak in code so often here because YouTube is so picky. Any excuse to flag a video, I literally gotta change the word saying not straight than what it really is. Maybe I could say the other word, but I'm not taking any chances. It's ridiculous. I agree. Anyhow, it turns out that he's straight and definitely not a virgin, because in his conversation I find a video of them doing the do that he sent her the day after while thanking her for the honor and blah blah blah. So he sent her a video clip of them getting it on. Maybe this is a good time after all this stuff for this guy to tell her to hit the road. You would think at this point, after all this, time to hit the road, honey. Nope. So I confront her about it and even mention that we agreed to be mutually exclusive before this point in time. At first she's livid that I went through her phone, and I let her believe it because I don't want her to let her use my tablet phone anymore. And she gets defensive about her interactions with her friends every time I ask about any of them. Well, because she knows that bullshit's going on and she's lying. Through more checking around, I found out that she has had about 20 guy friends that she's been sending and selling pictures to during the time we were supposed to be mutually exclusive, including her best friends, her friends, and I don't have to worry about the so-called not straight guy. Okay, she's making videos with some dude, the so-called not straight friend, and he's sending it to her. So apparently she's selling naughty nudes to a whole 20 different guys, but still, nothing's going on, she says. And this guy has proof of this, and he's still with her. It continues. I suggest she should start an OnlyFans account if she wants to sell her pictures and she takes offense to it. Dude, you want your girl to be actually doing this? Saying she would never sell her body, I just stare at her with a blank look, knowing that she's already been. This does not go over well with me, as I have seen proof of the opposite. She claims she never sold any, but I saw the messages and the Cash App / PayPal links with the amount sent. I point it out and take note of the dates, and she gets upset that I look through her phone. So she's cheating on this guy and doing all this and lying and all that, but he's the bad guy because he found this on his phone. I tell her I haven't touched her phone other than to hand it over to her and plug it in once in a while. And I remind her of my tablet phone. She signed into everything with it, and her face goes white. She immediately starts to try to reassure me that she wants to be with me and that nothing is going on with her and the other two guys. He saw all the proof. Which I don't believe for a second, because why would she claim that to me and then spend more time with them? Not to mention that she's been telling both of them the same thing she's been telling me, except admitting to them about her struggle with alcohol. Great chick, huh? Again, back to the beginning of the story when he saw her 10 years earlier and the brother asked her out before he opened his mouth. And, I think that was a sign from the universe saying, don't talk to this chick, don't go out with this chick. But you saw what happened. So I asked her to put the shoe on the other foot. If I had a female friend and wanted to hang out with them and said I'd be back the same night but didn't come back until days later, how would she feel? Dude, you're wasting your breath. She's not going to care. She said she'd be very upset. So I point out that's what she's doing to me and the double standard of it. She claims she gets it and that she would stop spending more time with her other friends than me. So he's staying with her in spite of all this. Come on, dude. End it. Move on. Save yourself all this hurt and drama. You're making a fool of yourself to her. You think she's going to respect you more or anything like that because now she obviously knows that you know of these things and you're still going to stay with her? I'm sure there's other girls that might like you. Anyhow, it goes on. In the meantime, she's been drinking and lying to me about it too. And she starts getting sick once in a while and has blood in her urine. And he says a good sign that her kidneys are starting to fail, or at least infected. I raise concern for it because she doesn't seem to care. She claims she will stop drinking and take better care of herself, but from what I can see, she never tried. I should point out too that her personality would change 180 from normal, her mannerisms would be exaggerated, and facial / body language would change, and she would smell like she spilled a whole barrel on herself. She would also say things that would make no sense or have nothing to do with the topic. So it was very, very easy to know that she's been drinking, even if she claims she wasn't even tipsy yet. On top of all the other shit, now you're dealing with this? The White Knight? The Captain Saving you know what? Guys, you see what happens? Right here, I'm not even done the story yet. Okay? So guys, right here in the middle of the story, a little intermission here. You get involved with a girl like this and she starts displaying these things, get out, move on. You got other options. Or take a break from women for a while. But certainly don't get involved with these types that have all these issues and problems. Look what it's bringing into his life. Okay. To be continued. It's around this time she would take long walks and come back with a pint of rum and drink half of it before she got back, and then drink the rest after she returned and tried to hide the bottle. One time she brought home a fifth. I asked her if I can have some, and she says yes. I grab a couple shot glasses and match her shot for shot. About an hour later, I'm half dead on the ground, unconscious half the time, and throwing up uncontrollably. Whilst unable to stand, she, on the other hand, is perfectly fine. Why are you doing that to yourself? Trying to show her that you can handle it like her, or something like that, or get her approval in some weird way? And of course she can handle it fine because she's an alcoholic. That's nothing to her, but to you, that's a big deal. Barely even buzzed and laughing that I can't handle my liquor. Granted, I'm a lightweight, so it doesn't take much, but I thought a handful of shots wouldn't do much. I've handled more before, but I've never had rum, and apparently rum doesn't like me. Eventually, I'm fine. I have a nasty hangover the next morning. I sleep until around noon and come out to find her sitting outside smoking a cigarette with a new bottle next to her, already half gone. I point out that last night I could have died from alcohol poisoning or choked on my own vomit while passed out. I tell her I'm done with alcohol in the house and tell her she needs to stop bringing it home. She agrees and says the bottle that she had the morning was her last. Yeah, sure. Sun's coming right at me. Yeah, her last. Bullshit. However, I found out later that she had zero intention of stopping and she just starts trying to be more sneaky about it instead. That's what they do. I know all about this because I have a family member, major problems in the past. I have seen it all. Trust me, guys. Now listen to this. He says, at one point I ended up finding about 17 bottles hidden in bags and scattered around our room and other spots in the house. 17 bottles. I've been through this. With a family member. You wouldn't believe the stash of stuff hidden around. That's what they do. They lie, they manipulate, drama. And they always say they're going to quit or say they don't have a problem. I confront her about this immediately and she claims they're from before she moved. Yeah, right. However, she has receipts in the same bags as the bottles, all dating within the last 2 months. However, she's admitted to being addicted, claims she wanted help with it, yet keeps hanging out with friends who either don't know about her struggle or don't care and keep enabling her behavior. Well, as the saying goes, like attracts like and birds of a feather flock together, so she's hanging out with a bunch of other losers that are just like this. I talk to her about it and tell her she needs to take it easy and work her way off it. No, she needs to go into rehab. That's what she needs. She needs to go into rehab and then go to AA meetings and have a sponsor, amongst many other things, to get herself fixed up. But she doesn't care. And I might add, it's not your problem. You don't need this shit in your life. I even explained how a pint is 8.5 shots and daily consumption of so much alcohol is almost double the recommended daily allowance. She pretends to be accepting of this information and claims she'll stop. However, she still goes on daily walks and comes home with a new bottle every time. I confront her about all the bottles she's hoarding around the house now and she continues to claim they're old. So I grab one still in a bag, dump the bottle out, and the receipt falls out too. I reach for the receipt and she tries to step on it. God, the drama this guy's dealing with. But I snatch it before she stomps her foot and looks to the date. She immediately flips out and says she needs time to think and goes off for another walk. About 1 hour later, she calls me and tells me she's on her way to her friend's house and will be back the next day. At this point, I'm done and pissed, so I moved all her stuff out of my room and put it in the spare room. I got a better idea. Move all her stuff out of the house completely in garbage bags and say, hey, come and get it. I'm done. That's what you should have been done a long time ago, but now might as well do it now at this point. Nope. When she comes back 2 days later, she gets upset that I kicked her out of my room and sweet talks me to letting her sleep in my bed because the spare isn't comfortable. We sleep together but don't get intimate from this point on. Yeah, well, I'll show you. We're not going to get intimate. But yeah, you can sleep in my bed because I'm a big giant pushover. After a couple more weeks, on the anniversary of my mother's death, and with my sister-in-law and nieces over, she pulls me to the side and claims her friend is coming with a U-Haul to move her extra stuff to storage. Her friend. I'm leery about this, but go on with entertaining our guests. Later on, she comes to me and says she's moving out and that she thinks we need a break. Dude, that's the best news you can get. You should be doing cartwheels and jumping up in the air and setting off fireworks in the backyard at this news because you can't do it, so she's doing it. But count your blessings. Hang on a second here. He says, she gets emotional and claims she doesn't want to hurt me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she doesn't want to hurt you. What has she been doing all this time? I'm not buying anymore, and the only emotion I feel is anger for all the lies and dishonesty. I explained to her that before we got together, I had multiple people tell me she was a bad idea. Then why didn't you listen to them? Because he was listening to the dude down south. He was listening to his heart, okay, and he thought that she was different, and I can save her, and all that type of stuff. You know, I tell you guys all the time, do what's best for you and don't listen to people when they say you can't do things. However, when it comes to like somebody in your life, like a girlfriend or a fiance, whatever, and they're telling you that she's bad news, people that you trust, listen to them. Unfortunately, that type of advice tends to fall on deaf ears. And it's always easy for people to look back and say, oh, I should have known, I should have listened to them. This guy learned the hard way. He says, but I defended her and gave her the benefit of the doubt regardless of what was being said. I continued to tell her that I wanted from her was to be honest and open with me. And I asked her that if it's too much to ask, she says no. So I asked her why it was for her, and she had no response other than tears. Of course, the crocodile tears. Don't fall for it, guys. It goes on. Her boyfriend comes by with a U-Haul, and I helped him load it up. Why are you helping her load it up? She's, after all this, and she's obviously ending it with you, which is a good thing. No, she can load up the U-Haul. This guy, one of her idiot orbiters, he can help her load up the U-Haul. You should sit back with a big smile on your face and be happy. Why are you helping? More of this nice guy shit. She hasn't done anything to deserve your help. The only moving you should have done was thrown her stuff in garbage bags and thrown them out the front door. That's the only moving you should have done to help her. He helps her, blah, 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 while asking him why he and the rest of the circle don't care that her health is getting worse because they're enabling her with her alcohol. And he replies by telling me they're not concerned with her drinking and they're concerned about me going through her phone 24/7. Hey, you know what? She can be this guy's problem and other people's problem now. Seems like some backward priorities, but whatever. I point out the fact that he just ignores me and starts snatching stuff from me to load into the truck. I took this as disrespect to me and tell him if he's ready to throw hands, I'd be glad to show him that even though I'm a few inches shorter than him, I won't hesitate to put my foot up his butt and would be glad to demonstrate. She steps between us and says we shouldn't be fighting with each other because it's her fault, and I settle down a little and tell him that tell him that if I hadn't gone through the messages, I wouldn't have found out that she was leading the two of us on, as well as a third guy as well. I tell him you're welcome after handing him the last box, and I shut the door on him. So guys, girls like this always have, well, pretty much all single women have lots of what they call male orbiters willing to take them places, do things, buy them stuff. This is just a perfect example. And she's going to use this guy and do the same thing to him. I talked to her for a few minutes while she gathers up a couple more bags of knickknacks and ask her why she hasn't been honest with me, her friends, or me, and why she's telling 3 different guys the same stuff. Because she's a liar, because she's devious, because she doesn't care. And not to mention alcoholic and a piece of crap. Don't try to get a straight, honest answer out of her. You're never going to get it. She claims she hasn't been, and that I was the only one she was trying to have a relationship with. I stop her, telling her that I know she's lying, and she just tears up knowing I know the truth, and that I won't believe anything she tries to tell me to justify it. So he's calling her on her crap. Good for him. And now she's crying and doing the crocodile tears to help him, so he'll feel bad and be like, oh, I'm sorry. You were right. Fast forward in time, it's now been 2 months now since she's left. She barely talks to me at all. That's a good thing. You don't need her in your life. I sent her a message right after she changed her status to single, asking her how she was feeling 2 weeks into the break. Even though it was a good thing, she's the one that moved out, want to take a break with you. Why are you reaching out to her? Okay? You know she's trouble. You know she's trash. Look at all the shit that she's brought into your life, that you allowed in your life, and you're reaching out to her? No. Cut her off completely. She ignored the question, like she often does, and makes small talk about other mundane things instead. Work, being lonely, etc. But I no longer care or buy it, and ended up blocking her phone numbers and socials. Hallelujah! Thank the Lord. Good job, bro. You finally got it. Block her. Social media, phone, anything. You do not need this woman in your life. Now, and listen to this. Now, I can be an oblivious dude. I know it. At least he admits it. Flirting goes over my head a lot. I'm very introverted and shy, so I don't go out for social interactions, and I'm usually not the one to start a conversation with people I don't know. Well, perhaps, bro, it's time to practice. Time to get out there and just practice talking to people so it becomes more natural. And that way, then, the next time you start talking to some girl and she's paying attention to you, you don't jump for some crazy chick because your options are limited or you're not very sociable. And take whatever you can get, which you obviously were doing in this situation. Go out there and practice talking to people. Go anywhere you go. Whether you're at CVS or the grocery store or at the gym or wherever you go, or wherever you go do social things, talk to people. Get comfortable doing it. Men, women, people of all ages, so you get better at it, and then you can then have better options instead of just taking anybody that will give you a little bit of attention. Look what happened here. However, I did see these red flags early and kept my guard up the whole time. I gave multiple chances for her to be honest with me about things I already knew so we could work things out. And she repeatedly tried to deny, downplay, or justify different excuses for her actions. I knew she would eventually get tired of me calling her out on her crap and either stop lying to me or just leave. She chose the latter, and I'm not broken up about it. I'm not too broken up about it. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, you know. And you tried the nice guy route. You tried the white knight and helping her out and all that stuff in spite of all the shit she was doing, and then discovering video with her and some other dude hooking up and her selling graphic pictures to like 20-some dudes. You still stayed with her. Then the alcohol stuff. Where did that get you? Guys, you can't be this way. I can't make that any more clear. Don't bring this crap into your life. Look what happened here. Look at all the things he could have been doing with his life during this time with this nut job. That could have made his life better. But if he truly learned from this, okay, good. And helping you guys out too. He says here, now some pieces of advice. Just remember, if you start noticing red flags, it's because something isn't as it appears. Yes. Don't drop your guard or give too much trust until you know for sure they deserve it. Right. Like, also, don't rush into relationships without actually getting to know someone. You didn't see her all that time. You just decided to be exclusive. Okay, she should have moved back, and then you guys could have actually, if you wanted to, have something with her, date her for a long time, and see what she's really like before you actually become exclusive and give her be exclusive benefits, so to speak. But you just jump right into it. Also, and listen to this. Also, am I the bad guy for going through her messages in the pursuit of the truth of the situation that I was finding myself a part of? No, you weren't the bad guy. It was your phone, dude. Her and her friends seem to think so. However, I know they're just mad at that I saw the dirty pictures they sent back and forth. Who cares what they think? Because they're all scumbags. And she is now dealing with somebody else, and I guarantee I'm making their life a living hell as well. It's not your problem. Thanks for taking the time to read my story. If it goes well, I might send the story about my first ex too. Be safe. God bless. Well, if your first story is more crazy than this story, I can't begin to imagine what that's like. It shows you have a pattern of this, brother. So you can't do that, okay? You need to learn. You need to watch many of my videos, as well as videos from other guys, some self-help books, getting your life together and becoming the type of man that has a lot of self-respect and value. And that way you're never going to be mistreated and taken advantage like this ever again, okay? Let some good come out of this situation. I can't wait to hear your first story, so definitely send that over. It may help some guys. But if I was hard on you in this video, man, if I would seem like I was being a jerk, it's because I needed to give you a very upfront, blunt response to your story here. Because you know you screwed up. You know you screwed up in many areas. But at the end of the day, she's out of your life, I hope. And it's a good thing you can rebuild. But listen to what I have to say about getting out there talking to people. Practice your social skills, improve that, and other areas of life, so that way then the next time you're ready to have a chick in your life, you don't just settle for anybody that pays attention to you and invite a train wreck into your life. You actually have gotten some skills and you've improved yourself that you then have some options and choice. But never give all these things to somebody that doesn't deserve it. And the second you see red flags, the second your gut's telling you something's wrong, get out of there or kick them the hell out. But anyway, I hope you're doing a lot better, bro. So anyhow, guys, that was it for today. It was a long story. I know it looks like 32 minutes long, 33 minutes long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. You got something out of it. Again, the warnings about the red flags, rushing into relationships, all that type of stuff. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.